I'm going to welcome Bishop Richard up now. Just to say thank you to Bishop Richard for being with us all day today, and thank you. I think I want to speak on behalf of all my pastoral team colleagues, many of whom are here today. We're very grateful for the support Bishop gives our pastoral team and the work of its commissions, and that's evident in a day like today. This time last year, it was the early stages of the Year of Mercy, and Bishop Richard talked about mercy being a lifestyle for the Christian. And he congratulated us on the work that we were doing in our parishes and in our communities. So please give a warm welcome to Bishop Richard.
Morning, folks. I haven't got any nice PowerPoints, I'm afraid, but just a few reflections for you today. First of all, thank you so much for being here. This is a wonderful gathering. As Aidan said, a few have had to cry off due to ill health, so it's really wonderful to see the hall pretty much full today for what I know will be a very inspiring and helpful day for all of us. Days like this really are very important. As Father Kevin said, we get as much out of a day like this in our mutual support for one another and the way that it invigorates the work around the deaneries and parishes of the diocese and our outreach into our local communities. So a big word of thanks to Aidan and to everybody on the pastoral team who give of their time over the weekend to support a day like this. Some of the team are going on from here to Red Hill this evening for one of 6 evenings that we're having with the young people of the diocese on the scriptures. So a really big thanks to all on the team for your dedication and service to the diocese. I don't know about you, but I think we're living in slightly scary times. Without wanting to get too political about it, when a world leader says torture works, I find that rather scary because we all know it doesn't. When we see such a move to protectionism and isolation, the building of walls, which we know they don't work either. When we see borders closed to the most needy refugees, it's a very scary moment for us. And I think as we reflect on what it really means to be a neighbour, and I know we'll hear more about this later in the day, it's that business of sometimes reaching out to people that we find very difficult to understand. That can be the hardest part of neighbourliness and that working together for the common good. Closer to home, the whole Brexit thing raises doubts and worries and questions in many minds. It will be interesting to see, I think, how all that pans out into the future, but we must keep the common good not just in our prayers. It's got to start with our prayer. Without that, we've had it. We can't do anything without prayer. But we must keep that common good ever before us. And my own reflection on the Brexit campaign, if I may share it, is that what I found most tragic was that what I regarded as really the right questions didn't seem to be addressed. Namely, not so much what can I get out of this, but what can I give to this process and what is best for the common good? And somehow those things seem to me to be missed. So I think we have a real duty to proclaim the common good at this time. And so today's gathering is, I think, very significant indeed. The Year of Mercy finished just before Christmas, and those of you who were at Arundel for the closing of the Holy Door in this diocese, it was quite interesting. I have to say, I rather enjoyed it because I went down to the front door of the cathedral and slammed the doors with a great slam. And you could hear the intake of breath almost. What's he done, But I did say, it's very naughty to quote yourself, isn't it? But I did say in my homily on that day, the door of mercy must never be shut, must never be closed. And the Holy Father has spoken very much about that same theme too, obviously. And if you haven't read it yet, take a look at this, Misericordia et Misera. It's the papal document on the closure of the Holy Year. We had Misericordiae Vultus when it all opened, and now we have Misericordia et Misera, which is the Holy Father's reflection on the closure of the Holy Year, and really saying that what we've experienced over those 12 months together is a springboard for all that must follow. And I'd just like to take a little bit from this document for you this morning. This is the time of mercy. Each day of our journey is marked by God's presence. He guides our steps with the power of the grace that the Spirit pours into our hearts to make them capable of loving. It is the time of mercy for each and all, since no one can think that he or she is cut off from God's closeness and the power of his tender love. It is the time of mercy because those who are weak and vulnerable, distant and alone, ought to feel the presence of brothers and sisters who can help them in their need. It is the time of mercy because the poor should feel that they are regarded with respect and concern by others who have overcome indifference and discovered what is essential in life. We do not need to look very far to find those who are weak, vulnerable, distant, alone, those who need to feel the presence of brothers and sisters who can help them, those who will find themselves respected when perhaps that comes to them as a surprise. When I first came to this diocese, one of my brother bishops, whose name I won't repeat, said to me, wonderful, he said, you're going to the diocese of the arrogant and beautiful. So I said, no, I said, the amazing and bountiful. And it's worth our while reflecting that within our diocese in Brighton, we have the highest proportion of homeless in any town or city in this country. The highest proportion. That means there are more people living on the street in Brighton per capita of those with homes than in any other place. Just the other week I was at one of the charities of which I'm a patron, Stone Pillow, down in Chichester. It was founded by one of our permanent deacons in this diocese. And there has been a 30% increase in those living on the street in Chichester in the last 12 months. So these issues are on our doorstep. They are not distant from us. And so it's all the more important then for us today to reflect on what it means to be the neighbour. Just finally, these things require of us a good deal of time. And I think maybe, I don't know whether I mentioned this last year, but at a prison chaplains conference a little while ago, the following reflection came forward, that it's quite easy really to wander past somebody and chuck a pound coin in a styrofoam cup. It's a bit less easy, but not much less, to go and buy a burger and take it back to them. What is difficult is to sit on the pavement and have a chat. And I think that's the kind of reflection that we need to think about today. For the common good of the world in which we live, for the common good of our brothers and sisters, we need to take time. And that's one of the key themes, it seems to me, that's coming out of Pope Francis's documents. Every document he writes says this is not a quick fix, it's all going to take time. And what we've done today and what you've done today, and thank you for doing this, is you have given of your time to gather today. And that's so important, to give of our time to understand better what the challenges are, to understand better what the opportunities are. It's really vital for us to do that, so that we can have a real preferential option for those who are most in need in our society, those most in need in our world, perhaps coming to seek refuge in our society. And we'll hear more about that part of our work later in the day. So thank you again for being here. This is going to be, I'm sure, a wonderful day for all of us. And I know that the Lord will bless us in our endeavours over the next few hours.
Thank you very much, Bishop Richard.